Welcome, everybody, back to another exciting show of the About That Wallet podcast. On today's episode, I am going to talk about how to create a budget calendar. The main reason why I want to talk about this because for the first time ever, I'm actually am going to walk through one of the things that I've done when I was getting out of my financial relationship. My horrible uh, relationship in the past that I've talked about many times, but I never talked about the mindset that it took me to actually move to that next level. Right now, I'm actually am streaming this on Instagram Live. So if you are live, thank you. For those of you who are new to the show, I want to say thank you for joining the show and continue to like, share. And also, if you found anything that was interesting to you for today, I would like for you to actually leave a comment in the descriptions below if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, when it comes to a budget calendar, you kind of think to yourself, well, what is a budget calendar? You already know what a budget is. And, a budget actually seems like, oh, yeah, this is something that I got to do, or I'm so restricting myself. But actually, having a budget allows you to free yourself from the burden of figuring out where your money is going to go. And having a budget is so important to allowing you to say no to the things that really matter to you. I mean, allowing you to say yes to the things that really matter to you and no to the things that does not align to your lifestyle. So when it came to a budget calendar, I didn't know it was called a budget calendar. I was just finding one of these old calendars that's laying around in the office. One of these, if you're watching this on YouTube, actually holding up a 2019 calendar that I used to use. Uh, and then I have a 2018 one that I cannot find that's been used up so often. But when it comes to the calendar, all I did was take time out from my day. I think I did this once a month or even twice or three times a month, depending on how often I got paid. And in the upper right hand corner of a calendar, I always wrote down how much I made for the day. Not how much I made for the day, but how much my balances are of the lowest payments. So if my credit cards were, say, about 4,000, then I had like a 5,000, then I have a 10,000. I will put the top three balances that I'm actually working on and focusing on for that month, meaning that I'm actually taking all the extra money to actually pay these accounts down. Now, this is considered the snowball method, which means that you actually pay down the lowest amount first, all the way up to the most expensive, regardless of the interest rate. Now, some people will be like, well, the avalanche method actually saves you more money in the long term if you just look at the numbers. That is true. However, for me, it works the best to actually pay it the lowest one first and move on to that next step. Main reason is because even though you could say, hey, I only got a $4,000 or $400 on this card, or I could look at my highest interest rate, which is 29%, and it has maybe $5,000 on the card. I can put down $400 on that $5,000 card, but I could actually have paid off the $400 credit card and have a zero balance on that one and not have to worry about it for the next month. And that was much easier for me when I was actually looking at my budget. So when it came to using the calendar, though, like, why would I use a calendar in the first place? Well, if you think about it, a calendar is good to help you plan out your day. And the calendars are really good on helping you planning out events. So because it already had the grid, I already knew what days I was going to get paid. And if I actually go to each credit card company and look into each bank statement and actually see when they need everything done, it was just a lot easier to go ahead on and plot down those numbers on the calendar. Now, having that available on the calendar made it a lot easier for me to go through and actually see when I can actually pay that a little sooner. Can I pay that in this particular paycheck, or does it have to wait until the next paycheck? And allow me to visually see on a calendar how can that apply in my natural life. So by doing this process, I was able to actually see how much money I'm coming in, how much I'm going to save for myself, how much I'm actually going to pay out the rest to everyone else. Now, this was something simple. I've been doing this, I would say, since 2007 ish, 2006 maybe. And I used to keep the calendars on the wall because you always got to see, everybody should have a calendar, a physical calendar that they can print out and look at. So it was just came second nature to me to just start plotting down the days when you get paid. I always thought that was something fun. Just go through the whole year and to figure out which month I am actually going to get paid twice. Not twice, but actually 3 times out of the month. And I always thought those as bonus paychecks. Now, how do I make those bonus paychecks? What do I do with those? Now, with those bonus paychecks, you usually get about 2 of those out the year because there are 26 payments that you'll get out of a year. And that is usually if you get paid by month, like every 2 weeks. And with that being said, you actually know you can actually plot out which months that you get paid the most. So in those months, I actually try to max out and use the majority of that particular paycheck to pay down a huge chunk into the lowest balance at that point in time. So a budget calendar is just pretty much a calendar where you can actually schedule all the activities that have to be created or developed to help you develop a budget. Now, most of the time, when you look at a calendar, you be like, all right, well, at least I know when the birthdays are. I know when I have to buy these gifts, but is this something that, do I really need to get it? And can I really afford it? But I notice that a lot of people struggle with budgeting. So this is the most simplest way to budget. And what I did was come up with the budget calendar process that I've created on my own called the budget calendar, or actually I call it the simple budget calendar. If you do happen to get a copy to see for yourself, it's actually aboutthatwallet.com/store. You can actually get your copy today. But on this calendar, I actually have a grid that displays your credit cards, your loans, with your name, with the name of the credit card, the balances that you actually currently have, the minimum amount due. You also want to know the due date, and you also want to know the interest, because the interest is interesting. It will change over time. You actually need to know when to pay your interest because they actually do fluctuate. Now, the next thing you need to do is the notes section. In the notes here, you can actually say if that particular card has a 0% balance for 12 months, and you can actually lay it out to say, all right, well, maybe it only has 3 months left or 2 months left, just to make sure that you are going through everything like you're supposed to. Now, underneath that, I actually have on here the subscriptions and also your cell phone bill. So with your cell phone bill, you actually can put all of that in there, which is the name of whose cell phone it is, the monthly amount, the due date, and also which bill or account that is actually coming out of. So every day that it's either paid by a credit card or is actually paid by your bank account. Now, having this budget calendar actually allows you to go through the different times of the day to actually see if you're if you actually staying on pace, because some of the times things slip away and you just need some place to actually keep everything together. I came up with the simple budget calendar. It works out for me for years. I've taught people how to use it. They were able to save, or even not even save, but actually find thousands of dollars in their accounts that they did not realize that they had. And also, in this particular calendar, it would help you figure out what is your retirement number. So, in your retirement number, you actually get to see, you take the amount that you make per year, and when you take that number times that by 25, and because it actually helps you do the 4% rule, which means that you're actually withdrawing 4% of your portfolio a year to live on, which usually lasts about 10 years, but so forth. That's a little bonus piece in there. And if anything is right now on sale, if you go to aboutthatwallet.com/store, and you will actually be able to get it for $4.99. It's that simple. So, if anything, everybody, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And thank you again for listening to the About That Wallet podcast.